before I get into those particular examples, I want to try and talk about play. So I'm going to give you some working definitions, some working ideas, which you may or may not, as I said, agree with, but I want you to think about them, okay? So, first of all, I want to be very clear that play is important for many, many documented reasons. That's not the question. Play and learning are complementary and often simultaneous. And this is interesting because if I think that I'm doing learning when I teach them and they're just doing free play, that's something else. I don't agree with that. And not what we've seen in the research or seen with our own research. And that is that play and learning are integrated. They go hand in hand. And sometimes they get pitted against each other in strange ways. So it's just, important to remember that, I think. And when we talk about a playful pedagogy, what we're kind of talking about is this idea of linking play and teaching, instruction, pedagogy, whatever it may be, in the classroom, in the kindergarten classroom. The three kind of components of that are resources of the kindergarten context or classroom or whatever, and the organization of that learning environment. It involves the structure of the kind of routines that are going on in the room, which are daily and complex, and the strategies that the teacher uses so that children learn through play and playful activities. So I want to tease that apart even further, okay? There are conflicting views of play and its purpose, and there are a range of definitions of play. So I'm going to try and you probably have thought about these two and read about them and implemented them, but I want to kind of like just obviate that, okay? So first, let's talk about free play. One way to define free play is that the children have power over the play, they control it. And in that context, the teacher acts as a stage manager or the organizer of the kindergarten environment, and they equip it with the materials and for the children to play with. In free play, the teacher is an observer, a listener, an assessor, and a planner. And the teacher makes professional judgments about the progress and interests of the children through those observations. You might have some other criteria. I'd love to hear them, so you can write me and tell me what I'm missing in this definition, in this working definition. Guided play is the next thing I want to talk about. Now, some people call it structured play. I'm going to call it guided play. There's a whole host of researchers that call it guided play, and it works, I think. It's where the curricular goals meet a playful pedagogy. And here, the rules of play are introduced by the teacher. So that could be games, puzzles, riddles, whatever it may be. The rules of play are included in the play or the object itself. An example would be assembling some kind of Lego structure that has some instructions or something along that line. Or it might be included in the problem. How would you change the bridge so that the horse can go through the bridge, or something along that line, right? So problem play, usually initiated by the student, by the child, and then there's some kind of teacher insertion of a problem into that play context. Okay. Direct instruction, very broad definition, directed by the teacher. The content and outcomes are controlled by the teacher. The children are told the information to use, and the materials are used according to instructions. Okay. So I'm going to tell you about a study, not mine, and then I'm going to tell you about a study we did. So this is a study by Fisher, Hirsch-Pasek, Nora Newcomb, Golenkoff, very high-flying researchers in the US. They had 70 children, and they wanted to introduce the properties of triangles, rectangles, pentagons, and hexagons. Okay? So they randomly assigned the children to 3 groups. One group had a guided play experience. One group had a direct instruction experience, and one group had a free play experience. Remember, this is just one study, but it's very interesting. The goal was that students would recognize the shapes and their properties, not only in their canonical form, in other words, the typical, regular triangle, but other kinds of triangles, right angle triangles, isosceles triangles, not in their typical orientations, all that kind of thing, right? So non-canonical forms. So they would recognize them and understand their properties. So in the free play condition, the shapes were made available to the students, all those ones that they wanted them to learn about, and they were encouraged to play with those. In the guided play condition, the teacher said, "Did you know that all shapes have secrets? And today, we're going to discover them." That's playful. There's a goal. It's playful. And so then the children discussed, what they saw as similar and different in each shape, and talked about how you might group them and that kind of thing. In the direct instruction, the teacher said, "Did you know that all shapes have secrets? And now I'm going to tell you what they are." So the teacher defined the properties of the shapes, the secrets, and that was the lesson. So what do you think happened? Well, the children in the guided play and direct instruction conditions both made progress. The children in the free play condition made no progress. There was no change in their understanding. Here's what's important. The students in the guided play condition made significantly more progress and showed a deeper understanding of shape features than the direct instruction group. This study tells me that guided play has a really important place in mathematics learning for young children. And it's not the only one, but I think it's a really good one because they did they had the 3 groups running simultaneously with the same kind of storyline and content and everything. So when it comes to math, we know that children do learn from play, but it does appear that they can learn much more with artful guidance and challenging activities provided by their teachers. When children play with math, this is from Doug and Julie, when children play with math-related objects by themselves, it's unlikely that their play will facilitate the learning of the intended concepts. Okay. So here's what it looks like in our research. So I earlier talked about the 364 students and the 118 teachers and the 11 sites and all of that. Here's what we found out. And this is more our observations and then also some findings. So we observed that kindergarten teachers used all of these. There were times when they used direct instruction. Okay, get your coats on, we're going out for recess. Here's how you zip up your coat. It's direct instruction, actually. There are times when they use structured problem play. That's where the student initiates a play with math ideas and materials, and the teacher introduces an enabling constraint, something to kind of focus the play toward a goal, a mathematical goal. And it may involve student-initiated variations as well. The free play, unguided, child-initiated, it's sometimes imitative, but involves students sort of integrating their emergent understandings through play. And then the guided play, teacher-initiated and monitored learning situations, as I've described earlier, that make the math thinking visible, enable teachers and students to explore, interact, and think about math ideas. So all of this can be playing with math ideas. And the reason that structured problem play and guided play are outlined in pink is because those have been the 2 most powerful in our research. So our studies align with the study I just shared with you from Hirsch, Pesek, and company. So just to underline, teachers used all of them. at varying rates, and sometimes within one small chunk of time, we're bouncing through those in different ways. But the two that were most powerful were the structured problem play and the guided play.